Welcome, everybody, to this episode, the first one ever of the new name, the Black and Gold Dynasty podcast. First show. I sent the invite out. My special guest tonight will be Ralph Williams. We're going to talk about the big win in Seattle and review that and preview Saturday Ravens game. So this is what we're going to be doing here on the new show, the Black and Gold Dynasty Show. Welcome, everybody, once again. That's a new intro, and I want to introduce my guest this evening. He's done a lot of stuff. We just did a Wrestle Talk across the country. He's also the host of the External Bum Show. He also is doing the Sports Corner radio show on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. And like I said, here he is, Mr. Ralph Williams. Ralph, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, Bubba. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fast because I was doing like 6 million things. So
you and I are the same tonight. You know, we just did the Wrestle Talk show, and you're doing your two podcasts here. I got to be on at 10:30 with Peter Blake. So down in Tampa.
God. Yeah.
We're some busy beavers today, as they say, you know?
Yeah. Well, we did our last show of our picks. We're going to do next week with the playoff stuff. So,
that's
yeah.
good.
So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Some people don't like how we do it, but honestly, I really don't care. I just try to do it the best I can.
You know what? Here's what I was always told: do what's best for you. What's your style? Okay, that's what's going to make you in this business.
Well, I think that's true. My style was before I even got into this kind of business. Because
no. But what I'm saying is your style of how you do it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Some people, I don't know. Sean Robinson, thanks. Kyle-L's in the house. Chris Elliott is once again in the house. So, hey, I didn't get to make it Sunday with you and Steve doing your post show. You also, everybody, he does a post show, and here it is right here. After every Steeler game, Ralph does it, and he also has Steve come on, maybe sometimes Smoking Jim Frazier and myself, and I couldn't make it. Sorry, I couldn't make it this Sunday. I wasn't feeling too good at all. I had to tap out.
Okay. Yeah, we had a good time. Steve had some volume issues. Actually, it was on my end. I hooked up a new mixer, and I forgot to hook a wire up, and I couldn't get Steve's volume. But I had Smoking Jim on with me, though, so that was a good thing. At least I wasn't by myself. So
yeah, sometimes it's hard doing these by yourself, as I know.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it can be, but I've done it before, so you know.
Me too. So how'd you like that big victory in Seattle?
I thought it was, a good victory. I took Seattle to win because, again, I'll say this: I don't want Mike Tomlin to have a winning season this year. I really don't. I want him out of here.
Well,
and and here we are now. But the prediction of 10-7 is a prediction I made when I had my Steelers special on Sports Corner Radio. I said 10-7 or 11-6, and I even said that on your show.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that could happen. I mean, if they beat the Ravens this week, and I think they will, Lamar Jackson, even though he's not playing, there's a lot of guys that are not playing. So I think we're going to be able to, pull this off. We're going to be 10-7, and I didn't want that. I thought they were going to fold the 10 after the Arizona game, but it's another year, Bubba, where the Steelers are winning at the end of the season and pulling it out. And, it's better to be lucky than good. I said that at the beginning of the season.
You've always said that the whole year. You've been saying that.
I have.
Yeah, but they're never going to get rid of Tomlin, as you call him, Mediocre Mike. They're not going to get rid of him. Thanks, Craig, for tuning in. Yeah, and we have to wait, like always, to see where everybody else is going. We have to choose our own destiny. If we would have won against those 2-10 teams, we'd be in a better predicament than we're at.
I would have accepted 2-1, with the 3 rookie coaches, because I even said this again on my Steelers special. I posed this to you and to all the panel I had on. What coach do you think they were going to lose to? And I predicted at least one game. I didn't expect all 3 of the rookie coaches to lose to.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either, and that's highly unlikely. during his coaching stature as a Steeler, but if you say something bad about Mike Tomlin, you're always getting lambasted on social media, as I have
Oh, he's a
said.
winning coach. Oh, he's not. He's never lost a regular season. Let me tell you something. Bill Cowher said this: if you're not in this game to win championships and Super Bowls, you don't need to be in it. Okay, and that's the way the Steelers are. They don't need to be in it if they're not in to win the Super Bowl. And I can't believe that the ownership group, and I know the minority ownership group, and I know this for a fact from a source. I do have some sources beyond the media that
Right.
are connected with the Rooney family, and I hear that the minority ownership wants Tomlin out. They not only want him out, they want to seize control of the team from Art Rooney II, because Art Rooney II doesn't want to win a Super Bowl, obviously, because we keep on having these mediocre seasons, and we just can't. It boggles my mind that this is where we are here. And I know this for a fact too, that there are 5 of the minority owners are trying to pull money together to buy out Art Rooney II. That's
Well, that would be super huge. I wish I was a minority owner, but that would, yeah. So,
Oh,
and
you know what? I got a 5-cent ownership into that. I put a nickel into the Steelers, so
well, we got some comments. Mr. Burns, I think Pickett should probably start. Do you think Pickett should start against the Ravens there, Ralph?
No, it's going to be Mason Rudolph all the way. I think the Kenny Pickett era is done for now. We'll see what happens next year. Mason Rudolph. I'm hearing. I found out today. I heard from Aditi Kukamunga, that from the NFL Network. She said something about that Mason Rudolph, if he doesn't get a contract at the end of the year by the Steelers, he's going off into the sunset and doing what he went to school to do. He's going to go get a regular job. He's going to move to Miami, and he's got some things going on in his life other than football. He said if the Steelers don't sign him, he's going to move on.
Really? So if the Steelers do not sign him, and I don't see Tomlin taking a leave of absence, Burn. If the Steelers do not sign him, he's going to go on with his career.
He's going to go on with his career, yes.
Wow, because he's right now could be a hot commodity, and any type of back. I mean, he doesn't want to back up anymore. Maybe he doesn't want to be a backup anymore.
And I would like to see the Steelers give him a lucrative contract and have him be the starter going into the season. Let Kenny Pickett sit back and learn a little bit. First of all, Kenny Pickett's overrated. All right, he's a gunslinger kind of quarterback. I like Mason Rudolph's
without no bullets. Without no bullets, though.
Right? Yeah, poise in the pocket. I like the way he controls the huddle, and I like the way he controls the game. And Kenny Pickett doesn't do that. The best scenario here, Bubba, is that mediocre Mike brings in Byron Leftwich as their offensive coordinator.
Oh God, I hope not.
Now wait a minute.
Okay.
Hear me out first.
I am.
Bring him in as offensive coordinator and bring in Mark Whipple to be an offensive assistant. Mark Whipple worked with him at Pitt. It was for 3 seasons. All right. Kenny Pickett had his best numbers under Mark Whipple. I think if you bring Mark Whipple in here with Byron Leftwich, not Byron Leftwich alone, with Byron Leftwich, make him an offensive assistant. And I hope you don't have too many Chiefs and not enough Indians with Mike Sullivan and Faulkner. So with them two, if included, there should be no reason Kenny Pickett shouldn't really be a decent quarterback next year if you do it that way. If you don't do it that way and you stick with what you have, which could happen, Mike Sullivan and Faulkner or Eddie Faulkner, then guess what? You could sign Mason Rudolph and have him be your starter and let Pickett sit back and learn.
Okay. Then this one, I got a lot of comments. Kenny Pickett next coming to Dan Marino. Just as Pitt fans, Burnsy says. The energy. Yes, Mason did bring a lot of energy, and he has a stronger arm, in my opinion.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
And Benjamin said the Steelers are going to win Saturday. I said Sunday when I opened the show. 38-24. Chris Anderson's in the house. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
So I don't know how it's going to be after this game. Tomlin's not leaving. I understand that. We have to get an offensive coordinator, or do they keep with what they got? Because you know how the Steelers are. They don't pay nobody.
Right. Yes, exactly. But I think this hire is going to come from Art II. I'm hearing that story right now. They've already interviewed Byron Leftwich for next year, and they've already interviewed Cliff Kingsbury, the former Arizona coach.
Oh,
Okay, believe it
wow.
or not, he's a good coordinator. Horrible head coach, good
Yeah, I
quarterback.
would take
Good
him.
quarterback coach. Very young. What happened was he had 2 mediocre seasons at Texas A&M. He was 6-6 or whatever it was,
Right.
6-7, that kind of thing. He never really did anything glorious there. And then he became the head coach at Arizona to fix Kyler Murray, and you know where that went, and you know how that happened. So Cliff Kingsbury would be a good hire. He's young.
I would agree with you. I'd like that.
Yeah, and still bring in Mark Whipple, because I
Mhm.
think Mark Whipple can help Kenny Pickett because they've worked together before.
Okay.
And now we're hearing rumors that Kenny Pickett's a crybaby. We're hearing
Yeah.
that.
Now, do you think let's go to that. Do you think Mark Madden is absolutely right on that? Because he is getting lambasted and he doesn't care. You know how he is. I mean, I know how
Yeah,
he is. He doesn't care.
so do I. Yeah, and
And
I don't care if I get lambasted either. I am hearing that perhaps that this is a well. Let me put it to you this way. I think there was something said about Kenny made a statement, and the statement got out into the press, and it got out on the internet. You know how statements can be, and you know how
right,
things are. You can't even urinate, and they don't know you did it. You know what I
right.
mean? You
Mhm.
know, uh, I think Kenny Pickett might have said something. Cam Hayward stepping up as the captain that he finally is to step up. Somebody had to step up and do something here. And what he did was he blasted that away, and a few other people blasted it away as well. And I think the Steelers are trying to hide it. But my sources haven't got back to me on it yet. But the sources that, according to what Mark Madden says, with these Pitt fans. I said something on my radio show yesterday on my Year in Sports Review Spectacular that the Pitt fans were going, about how great Kenny Pickett is. He's not the second coming of Dan Marino. He never
No.
will be.
No.
Okay. And the Steelers made the stupid mistake of not drafting Dan Marino when he should have been drafted by the Steelers because they
I
were so.
agree. I totally agree with you on that one,
I
Ralph.
think we would have 10 or 12 Super Bowls. I believe that to be the case because
I've been
all
saying that for years.
all the wasted
Years.
time he was in Miami, and he had to overscore the other team because Miami had a sucky defense for many years, and if it wasn't for Dan Marino, Miami wouldn't have been where they were. But he was only in one Super Bowl that he lost, and that was his rookie season.
And
And
that's
but
they
Dan
beat
Marino
us in a
broke a lot of
championship game.
records. Yeah, exactly. And I think the Steelers would have 10 Super Bowls if he was here. I believe that
I,
to be the case.
I agree. I am not disagreeing with you on that because I've been saying that for oh my god since the for decades. Decades I've been saying that, and people
And
think I'm crazy.
And other than the first year of Ben Roethlisberger's tenure, Bill Cowher never had a franchise quarterback, and look at what he did.
I
Okay,
agree. I agree.
it was, and due to some bad play calling by some of his assistants and some stupid decision making by his assistants, cost him some of those AFC Championship games, like the game in '97. We were up on Denver in the playoffs. Chan Gailey called some stupid play calls that resulted in the Broncos winning that game. I mean, we beat them in the regular season. John Elway, we beat them, and then all of a sudden we come into the playoffs. They come to Three River Stadium and we lose. And I thought that was sad. And then Chan Gailey up and leaves and goes to Dallas to be the head coach and doesn't tell anybody. I mean, and that was kind of sad to me. And then we ended up with that bum Ray Sherman and a few other people. But
Agreed.
Bill Cowher was able to win without a franchise quarterback. And now Mike Tomlin had the luxury of a franchise quarterback all these years,
And
and
hasn't
he
done
still
anything.
could get to the Super Bowl, other than the 2 years he had Bill Cowher's players and a franchise quarterback.
Well, speaking of that, when you said Cliff Klingsberg, see, some people I would take him in a heartbeat. Yeah. And let me
Yes.
ask you another question. Receiver coach. There's been speculation, maybe I don't know, throw it out there. Hines Ward, because he's not
Yes.
a coach anyway. Would you take Hines
Absolutely.
Ward? Okay,
Yes.
I would too. I would
I would
too.
hire him, but I don't know if Tomlin's going to do that because you know what they say. He doesn't want anybody that's smarter than he is. And Hines Ward's a pretty smart guy. And he would be a great wide receivers coach. He would definitely teach them how to block. And I know he wouldn't take no jive. And like this, whoever the coach is now, I don't even know who the wide receivers coach is. And
I don't either. I
yeah,
don't either.
he's some jabroni from from some federal penitentiary like the Mean Machine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, so the Steelers beat the Seattle Seahawks first time since 1983, which was
In Seattle, yes.
yeah, which was huge. And I don't know. I think when I did our picks, I think I have to take them. In my mind, I think I
Right,
took Seattle to beat us due to the fact that we had to go out to the West Coast.
right.
But I didn't see Mason Rudolph. I didn't see Mason Rudolph ever starting a game. I didn't see these last two games as, they're averaging over 30 points the last two games. Mason Rudolph was 18 for 24 for 274 yards. He didn't have any touchdowns, but he did have that nice third down
Yes,
pass to Pickens. And he
right.
was in the pocket and he wasn't running around. They blocked a little better for him, but his composure in the pocket was better than anybody that we've had all year.
Well, let me tell you this: Mason Rudolph saved mediocre Mike's coaching career this year because of these two games. And number two, uh, Mike Tomlin at the beginning of the game against the Seattle Seahawks made a bad move when he went for it on fourth down. I thought that was a bad move, but I was upset with him because at the beginning of the first quarter, you call a timeout. I mean, come on, you don't do that. If you're going to go for it on fourth down, just tell the quarterback you're going for it on fourth down. Don't see there was a communications problem there, and they had to call a timeout, and that just continues to just boggle my mind.
He's
With
bad
this,
with that. He always
yeah,
does that.
oh,
It's
it's
always time.
terrible.
Yeah,
It's
and
terrible.
yeah, it's
He
not
has
off.
more coaching problems than he does, or more coaching snafus than he does good coaching. And I've complimented him for his the good use of the clock a few times that he's done it. The few times I say that he's done it, Bubba,
Right.
because he's never done it that much.
Not a lot, Ralph. Not a lot.
And he never wins any red flag challenges either. I don't know who's looking up in the skybox there or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, they hired somebody, so you figured they hired somebody. The call would be coming down quicker down to the field, and some of that
they
stuff
did
will be
hire
done
somebody,
right.
yeah, I do
But
know
also
that.
too, with his victory against Seattle, he has now gone 17 straight seasons without a losing campaign. The third longest in NFL history, behind Tom Landry, who has 21 seasons, and Bill Belichick, who has 19. But once again, we haven't had a playoff game win in such a long time. Regular
Yes.
season doesn't mean anything when you can't get into the,
You mean to tell me we had a playoff win? You said what?
wait, I don't know when.
Remember when I seem to have amnesia as to when we had a playoff win.
It's been a while, probably going on almost a decade, I think, pretty close to a
Yeah,
decade.
close, yeah.
And we haven't played any big quarterbacks in those victories, and we had playoff wins.
No, we haven't.
So, I
No.
mean, it. You're right. Mason Rudolph did probably save, Tomlin, because there's a hot seat. No one's have said it. Some people have said it, like myself and you. But what's coming on strong too that is helping Mason out is this running game.
Yeah,
I think we have the best combination of running backs, 1-2 punch probably in the NFL, I think, right now.
absolutely. Right now, both running backs have been hot, and I believe because of Eddie Faulkner, who is the offensive coordinator, but he's the running backs coach as well. And Eddie Faulkner is a good coach and a good running backs coach. And I think by Jalen Warren picking up speed last year and parts of this year has put the fire up the butt of
Najee?
Najee Harris. Sometimes I get a brain
That's
fart here.
okay. I've had a lot of concussions in my life too. Like Najee, speaking of Najee, had 27 rushes, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was running over people in Seattle, stiff arming
Oh,
people.
yeah, he was. And you know what? It was nice to see us beat, despite the fact Devin Bush had 17 tackles in that game. You know what I mean?
He was obsolete.
Despite the fact that he was kicking people everywhere, and getting angry and stomping on our guys.
What a bust. What a bust.
Yeah,
He was a bust.
he was a bust. And then, hey, you know what, Devin? It's not our fault that you stink. You know what I mean? That's a simple fact. I mean, but don't take it out on us because you didn't work out in Pittsburgh. After he had his knee injury, he became a total just obsolete kind of a linebacker. He did nothing.
Right. Well, Jalen Warren to add,
we traded up for.
yeah, and I was happy when we did, because That's unorthodox from the Steelers to actually draft up, trade
Smoking
up to
Jim
get.
called that. He said he's too small, and he really wasn't. He was okay in college, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? And Smoking Jim, who is a freelance scout, said, and used to work for the Steelers as a scout. He said, and I
Oh,
quote,
nice. I
"Devin
didn't know that.
Bush is not a number one draft pick. Shouldn't have been."
We probably got the wrong Devin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Mark Benamady, my mom, thanks for tuning in. Now, talking about the other running back, Jaylen Warren had 13 rushes, 75 yards, a nice touchdown run, and he added 44 yards of receptions. And both of those running backs, Harris and Warren, both have 1,000 yards between them on the scrimmage yardage, which
Right.
It adds to the backs before of Blyer and Franco and some other backs. Right. I think that was the fourth duo in Steelers history to do that. So that's pretty good. Now, I don't know how Harris is to getting a regular 1,000 yards, behind, running. I do not know. It's got to be pretty close.
Only needs he's 900. He needs about 100 yards. He's
okay, well, just straight up.
He needs 100, but I think they said 910 maybe.
Yeah.
So that's 90 yards he needs.
Well, he needs to average more than 67 and 57 in a couple of those games when the offensive line, which we need a center because
he's turning out to be a bust. I mean, he really is kind of, because he was the number one draft pick, and he was supposed to run the football, but then again, we had Matt Canada as our offensive coordinator who couldn't find his way out of a paper bag, let alone. I got some stories for you that I found out about Matt Canada. Do you know he never gave the players or the coaches the game plan until the day of the game?
Well, that's ridiculous.
But he did. That's what he did. And
that's why.
The game plan, and that's why everything was all messed up. And then finally, when Tomlin told him he had to go down on the sidelines because the communication was bad from him sitting up in the press box, I've always said this: you should have both of your coordinators down on the field.
Oh my God, yeah, because
why a coordinator should be up in the box. No reason.
There should never be a reason they should be up in the box. And I'm glad they got rid of him. I mean, but also too, like, our line hasn't been effective on the running attack. Mason Cole is not the center. We need another center, and hopefully we get one in the draft. Donnie Fulmer, thanks for tuning in. So, and also, and Pickens has been coming on the last two games. He had 7 receptions, 131 yards, and he has just, since he didn't block on that Jaylen Warren run, caught a little heat. Now he's actually showcasing his stuff on the field instead of running his mouth.
Hey, I like the tackle he made when they had that, when they had that so-called interception that they were trying to do. When Johnson caught that pass and bobbled it, and they thought it was an interception. He actually tackled the guy. I was like, I almost fell over. I mean, I almost fell in my wheelchair. I said, "Oh my gosh."
Well, speaking of Dante, he had 4 receptions for 76 yards. I believe this week this will be his last game as a Pittsburgh Steeler, I believe.
I think so, because Bubba, I agree with you 100%. They have to shed some of this money, or they're going to be in trouble this coming year with the salary cap. They got to do something. Deontay Johnson was overpaid.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okorafor was overpaid. And they might have to tell. And then when Najee Harris comes up for his contract, I think they're going to have to put him on the franchise list, or not do his 5th-year option if this is the way he's going to conduct himself. He has an attitude problem. I don't see George Pickens going past his rookie contract.
No, I don't think so. No.
You got to get some guys in here, Bubba, and I don't care if you do it through the draft. There's always enough wide receivers in the draft. Let me give you an example. Anthem Sports every year puts out a draft booklet, or a draft magazine. Mm-hmm. And I always get it, and I use it for my draft show.
Sure.
They always have the top 40 wide receivers. Every other position is top 20 or top 10. Top 40 in wide receivers. And they're always like that. And there's some wide receivers that the Steelers could have picked. They could have took that kid that plays for Cincinnati or Cleveland that's from Shepherd. I wanted them to take. He has speed, and that other kid from Princeton. There might be small colleges, but look at John Stallworth. I mean,
oh my God, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was Bill Nunn, and then they held all the they held all the highlight films and didn't show nobody. Yeah. Oh, we can't find it. Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah, we can't find it. Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, is that there's no reason why we couldn't draft. And some of them guys that come from them small colleges like that, they got good work ethic because they have to fight for everything they have. It's not, if you go to USC or something, you could be an average wide receiver and get drafted right away. Them guys and some of them small colleges, they got to really work super harder and harder than most, and they have a better work ethic. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying these big college players are not like that, but there's a lot of them that act like George Pickens and Deontay Johnson because they just don't have the work ethic that the athletes used to have.
Well, Shane said that's a good publication that you were talking about, so I'm going to have to probably get that too. Yeah, and I got Chris Anderson said Mason fired his team up. We will definitely need a center, like you said, Bubba. It wouldn't hurt to get another receiver like Pickens.
That's another mistake they made. We need to get a center in here. I mean, we could have had Lindenbaum that's with Baltimore, and we laid an egg. And by the way, hold on a second here. I think I might have had it. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. I got some tissue here. I forgot to bring my towel. I want Mike Tomlin to wipe the egg off his face because of not starting Rudolph from the beginning, like I said.
Where could we be? And if you would have had, say you would have had Mitch Trubisky and Mason, and then Mitch just shitting the bed like he did, like he's gone, he's done. And then, getting some draft, somebody on the line.
Okay, let me say something about Mitch Trubisky real quick, okay? I'm the only one that brought this up in the media. When Smoke and Jim and I had our TV show on PCTV and we did our podcast. And remember when Dwayne Haskins died?
Right. I do remember that, yes.
Nobody in the media was wanted to say this, but I did because I saw it. Okay, Dwayne Haskins dying, I think, messed with Trubisky's head. All right, because Trubisky's thinking, wait a minute, if I didn't have this camp down here at my house,
he wouldn't have been alive.
Everybody over, he would have been alive. And that would, like Smoke and Jim said, let's say if I was to die tomorrow, Smoke and Jim would be, like, oh no, you know what I'm saying, and even though, and Haskins said that that was the best thing that ever happened to him when he went to Trubisky's house and they had that little camp and they talked and they went over some plays and, he said, hello, I'm Mitch Trubisky. This is, you know what I mean?
Right.
And Haskins said he had a good time down. It wasn't drinking. It was all work. It was all getting to know each other. And that was all well and good, but I think that messed with Trubisky's head and a lot of media people in this town.
Yeah, no, you're the first person to actually say that. Actually, that I can recall.
Yeah. And the other media people repeated what I said, and that's not the first time. The second time is when I was calling him mediocre Mike all these years, and now I got my other media colleagues calling him mediocre Mike because I was doing it. And you know what else? I wanted him fired. I wanted him out of here. And now you got all the national pundits and you got all the other people that said, yeah, it's time for him to be fired. And now a lot of us, including myself, kind of got egg on our face because, I thought they were going to fold the 10 after the Arizona game. I said, it's over. It's done. This team's finished. Right. They're not going to catch up. Kenny Pickett's hurt, that kind of thing. It's over. It's done.
Well, I got some more comments. Donnie Fulmer, to put Kenny in over a hot Mason Rudolph would be foolish. Chris Anderson says, but I don't blame Trubisky for that. I think bad decisions were a part of the Dwayne
and a bad coordinator and a bad offense. Okay, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, they put handcuffs on him when he first took over as the starter. He even admitted it. He said Matt Canada had me in handcuffs. I wasn't allowed to make decisions when I coordinated with him. And you can't do that. Some quarterbacks are good if they have a good system and a good coordinator. Mm-hmm. I mean, it all boils down to that too. But there are guys like the Mason Rudolphs of the world, the Jake Brownings, the Joe Flaccos that have been around for a little while that know how to manage a game. And as long as you've got a good running game like the Steelers have now, even Mason Rudolph can look good. And I'm not saying that to be rude or nothing, but Mason Rudolph is looking good now because you know why? He's got the offense playing for him. All right. They're catching his passes. They're blocking for him. They're pushing him through to make the touchdown. He's got control of the huddle. Mason Rudolph will get in your face if you're not doing something. And now you've got everybody, with his enthusiasm. And that's great. That's what a quarterback leader is supposed to be.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, and like I said, the offense had a total of 468 yards. So, and we rushed for over 200 yards against Seattle, and Seattle had, like, Geno Smith had 290 yards. Now, Joey Porter Jr. had a little difficulty, against Metcalf, which I can understand, but Metcalf had 106 yards, but no touchdowns. And we held
Right.
Kenneth Walker to 53 yards and a touchdown. So the run defense in the last couple games have been actually halfway decent without the no inside linebackers. Now, that strip sack from Nick
Right.
Herbig was very huge. That got
Yes.
us a field goal and got us up to,
I think
11.
I think that saved us to win the game. I
I
believe
think
that's
that
the
was
case.
a turning point. I read in other
Yeah.
stuff that was the turning point of that game. So,
Right.
I mean, and also the thing that I'm going to show you everybody here in a second, our MVP TJ Watt right there is
Uh-huh.
Steelers team MVP, but he was getting pressure, but he hasn't had sacks. He's getting held a lot more. I see that from my TV.
Yeah.
He's getting
Yeah.
held
And I
every
agree with
play.
them that the officials don't call some of these penalties on the guys that hold him. The officiating has been bad all year, Bubba. And that
Mhm.
one crew that the one that's going to be
The one
involved here.
from the Dallas game, the
Yeah,
Dallas Detroit
yeah,
game. Yes.
yeah. And I feel bad for both teams because you know what? It's going to be a mess. Them guys can't call anything out of a paper bag. And I
Well,
mean, they're the worst.
Chris
And
Anderson says we definitely need a middle linebacker or two. So,
uh,
and
we've
also
needed
there,
a middle linebacker for a long time. We've needed a lot
yes,
of, and it's
yes, it's
always been there.
Shazier. But also
Yeah.
too, there's been some social media, and I wanted this for the show tonight to get your who is the better, Garrett or TJ, in your opinion? I'm going to
Well,
go with TJ because I'm a
I would
Steeler.
go
I
with
don't like.
TJ too, but there are some people out there. I know a guy who doesn't like TJ Watt. He thinks that he's overpaid and doesn't do enough. And he thinks he needs to do a lot more. And so
How
uh
much?
I-
How much
and,
more does he need to do though? He does
well,
pretty much everything.
yeah, he does. He does do what he needs to do, and I think
Mhm.
he does enough to because without him, we can't win. I mean, you've seen that many times, and that's sad.
Right, right.
We shouldn't be. We shouldn't have to be in that position. And the interesting thing is now we're winning with backups from the practice squad on inside linebacker. Look at that, Michael Walker. He's been pretty decent. Now all of a sudden, Miles Jack comes back with
Yeah,
with some fury,
vengeance.
and we just signed Jalen Smith, and and then who's that other kid? That Blake Martinez. I
Right.
mean, we have him too. So I mean, these are guys, and Omar Khan has done a good job of finding the right guys off the scrap heap. I can't wait till next year. Martavius Adams' contract is up, and I can't wait till he's gone
I'm not a big
because
Montavious fan. I am
I
not.
never liked him to begin with. I mean,
Yeah.
he kind of got lucky last year a little bit. He played a few decent games here and there, and I always said when Bill Cowher had some bums, I used to call him Cowher's bums, and he's one of Tomlin's bums. I mean, he just yeah.
Well,
I
I think
mean,
that rookie. I think that Keanu Benton should be taking over the position. I think he's a little bit more better. I mean, Isaiah Loudermilk has not been up to where he needs to be. He's probably not going to be a Steeler next year. I don't
no,
think.
he's done too.
But
I think they're just holding on to louder milk for depth. And
well,
look, what's his name? Neil or Tio or
the
the
guy
second
that they got from the Chargers that they didn't even the run stopper Fanico or something.
Yeah, for Dahu. Yeah, I was so agitated. That guy can play. He started. I mean, for the Chargers, I don't get what happened here. I mean, and
No,
again, it's Tomlin with these
boggles my
bums, the
mind.
louder milks of the world, and the Adams.
Well, the
Okay,
thing is,
both of them got to go.
the thing is, though, everybody that has left the Steeler organization now is starting in the NFL, which is unheard of. Because back in the day, when you left the Pittsburgh Steelers, except for Rod Woodson and maybe a little bit of Chad Brown, they never you didn't do much. You didn't
He
do much
started
after
so
that.
much. Yeah, he didn't do much out there. Now they're going in other places and doing well. Look at Kevin Dotson.
Yeah.
Kevin Dotson was hurt here, fell out of favor. They claim he was lazy, and stuff like that. And then they replaced him with Salomalu, and Salomalu did worse than Dotson. I mean,
Mhm.
this year. I mean, he wasn't really that. And then he's hurt. He's got a shoulder injury. And, you didn't see much of Nate Herbig. So, I mean, And then they got and a Shuk Sakura for not even playing, and they're paying him what, $18 million a year or something, whatever
Oh,
they
he's big
he
bucks.
paid for him.
Big
You know,
bucks. Yeah, Chris Anderson said we need some inside linebackers like Lambert and Lloyd.
yeah.
Yeah,
There was some
I don't know
talk
where you could find him.
today. There was some talk today. I heard about some Kevin Colbert's drafts over the years, and some of the ones that
Lukewarm.
were bad. A lot of them were like bad, and then
Oh,
the last couple were really bad.
there's one class there's not even a Steeler on that draft. Drew
No,
Archer, and they're all gone. Like, just
yeah,
ridiculous. But
yeah.
we got to face
Uh,
we're facing
Jarvis
Sunday.
Slow Jones. I mean,
Yeah, bad. Very bad.
Jason
Yeah.
Worlds, he's a pastor now or a preacher somewhere. And, you got some of these other guys that, just bagging groceries or bussing tables or doing something else. They're not playing football. So,
They're doing podcasts probably. The Steelers
they might be. Hey, we
might
make
be.
money doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson said when he's done playing, and this could be his last year too, when he's done playing, he said he's going into podcasting. Like his cousin.
I heard that Cam Hayward might be looking, maybe, because this year has been very bad, a roller coaster ride, and he's going to be 30. Yeah,
he's frustrated because he's been with the team all this time and can't get a Super Bowl. And I feel bad for TJ Watt, because as long as Tomlin's here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this, okay? And I said it this year. If the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, I will do my radio show naked. Okay. I didn't say they had to win. If they go to the Super Bowl, I will do my radio show naked. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl, so I won't be doing it. But I'm going to say this now. As long as I'm doing my radio show, if the Steelers do go to the Super Bowl when Tomlin's the coach, as long as Tomlin's the coach, I will do my show naked through a whole year.
I don't know if you have to worry about that one, but that's a big bet.
They're not going to go to the Super Bowl with Tomlin ever again. And the only reason Tomlin went to the two he went to was because he had Cowers players.
He had Big Ben.
And he had leaders. And he had a franchise quarterback.
Yep.
And I can't understand how we couldn't beat Green Bay that year in the Super Bowl. They were using 5th and 6th string corners, and we couldn't beat them.
Well, Mendenhall got beat by Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews caused the fumble, but Mendenhall, I don't even want to talk about him. But the Steelers, Saturday, 9-7, facing the Baltimore Ravens, 13-3. They sewed up the number 1 seed in the AFC
and the division title. So basically, the Ravens are, and I'm surprised John Harbaugh's doing this. I was wrong. I made a prediction that Sean Harbaugh was going to use his starters just to beat the Steelers because he hates the Steelers so bad because we always beat them. You know what I mean?
Lamar Jackson will not play. Tyler Huntley will be starting, and Josh Johnson's the backup. And Tyler Huntley actually beat us, I believe, in one of those games. Really, the only Raven that they have injured is cornerback Ronald Darby. He's questionable. Everybody else is pretty healthy, and he can set everybody. Like the Steelers. Like the Steelers' injury is all questionable, like Cam Hayward, Alien Roberts, Minka Fitzpatrick. I know Craig was asking about Minka. He's questionable. Trenton Thompson. Najee is questionable. And Isaiah Salamanca is limited.
Yeah, Isaac Salamalu's been limited for a while. He's had this nagging shoulder injury, and I guess he's going to have surgery at the end of the year, I suppose. I don't know why they don't just play Nate Herbig, and you know what I mean, with him, because
I like Nate Herbig.
He's been kind of a bust this year. I thought, he was good with the Eagles. Oh, him and Nate Herbig. Oh, you know what I mean? And then they come here and Nate Herbig don't even play. And then you got Salamalu soiling the bed, a little bit. He hasn't done that.
I'm taking the Steelers to go 10-6. Now, who are you taking? Oh, sorry, 10-7. 10-7. Who are you taking?
Well, with Mason Rudolph at the helm, I'm taking the Steelers. And right now, the momentum is in the Steelers' favor. I mean, right now they're winning games. They're pumped up. They're fired up. They're ready to play. I don't know where this came from all of a sudden. And it seems like the last couple of years and the years that Tomlin don't get a contract, it seems like to get an extension, he just has to go 9-8.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well,
but he'll be 10-7 this year.
10-7. We both take them to go against and beat the Ravens. I'm probably going to say it's going to be.
And I don't think we're going into the playoffs because somebody's going to spoil.
That's my next question before we get out of here. because I'm going to take the Steelers 24-17 over the Ravens for the victory. And what score would you give them?
I'll say 28-17 Steelers.
Okay. Now you said about the playoffs. Now here we go. This playoff scenario right now. They got to win. Bills lost.
Bills have to lose. Jacksonville has to lose. The Texans and the Colts has to end in a tie. I got a better chance of getting struck by lightning than that happening.
Yep.
Or the Steelers lose in week 18, and the Jaguars lose and the Broncos win. I don't see the Broncos beating the Raiders.
No,
and
I don't
if
either.
The Texans versus the Colts does not end in a tie. You know what? That's two rookie coaches going up against each other, Texans and Colts. That's gonna be a dogfight, I think.
Yeah.
The Texans are doing real good with D'Amico Ryans, and Shane Steichen's got
Titans.
the Colts moving.
Yep. I said the Titans beat the Titans beat the Jags. We got Chris Elliott said the Steelers.
I don't think the Titans are going to beat the Jags because the Titans are terrible. They're a horrible team. They're what, 5-10?
Yeah, but I picked them because I'm a little crazy like that. And they didn't score last week. So
Jacksonville hasn't been doing that good. They've been soiling the bed a little bit.
Well, since they beat us and did the terrible towel stuff, they haven't been right since.
They haven't been right since. Yeah, exactly.
But Chris Elliott said the Steelers beat the Baltimore, and it makes the Steelers 5-1 in their division. And so no, Chris Elliott, that doesn't matter because the 4-2 Steelers are the AFC North champions. No, you got to win all the games.
Just not in your division. To do that. Plus, you had to win more games, and we didn't. There were a lot of out of our conference that we lost.
Like Donnie Fulmer said, he called 10-7 in the preseason. Chris Anderson, Steelers 34-20. Gary Red, thanks for tuning in. Craig says, I think this Ravens game will be close, but it will come down to the kicker. And both of them are good kickers. Tucker, Boswell, both great kickers in the NFL.
The sad part about it is there's so many good kickers in the league. Boswell can't get any attention here. You know what I'm saying? It's like
right.
Every team has a kicker who can kick just as good, if better, than Boswell. Mm-hmm. But Boswell's a good kicker, but it's just he doesn't get the attention that all the other ones get because there's so many of them. I don't know where they find these guys, but there's so many of them.
Right. Well, hey Ralph, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy guy. You're everybody. Ralph Williams is the host of the External Bum Show. Sports Corner radio show on Beaver County Radio 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. He's also the host of Wrestle Talk Across the Country with Smokin' Jim Frazier and myself. We had our first show tonight at 7 o'clock on Block Talk Radio.
I also have a show called Telling It Like It Is on Saturday at 10:30 AM.
How many shows do you have?
All right, let's see here. The way we see it, I just started a new show called Ralph's Opinion. I started that in December. That's going to be 1 hour every Monday at 11 a.m. Okay, and then at 7:30 or 7 p.m. Monday night, the way we see it with me and Bill Canada. And then I have Wednesday's Wrestle Talk. And then I have Friday, the External Bum. And then I have Telling It Like It Is on Saturday with Leo Haggerty at 10:30 a.m. on social media platforms. Then I have the post-game show. And I might be carrying that on, doing some Penguins post-game, Pirate post-game, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Well, you know what? I was going to do Mauler stuff, but the Maulers are done. They're no
I know,
longer
that's terrible. I don't know who to cheer for now. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? The UFL isn't too bad. I'm rooting for the St. Louis Battlehawks because let me tell you why. They're sold out. You can't get a ticket.
Wow.
They're sold out already. And last year they sold out. San Antonio sold out. What happened was the USFL and the XFL got together and they took the teams that draw the best and put 4 of them together for each league. And now you got the USFL league, you got Birmingham, you got Memphis, you got that, and the Michigan Panthers, the teams that draw. The Maulers didn't draw. But I blame the USFL for that because they should have put the Maulers back here in Pittsburgh.
I agree.
Instead of having people drive to Canton, Ohio. And I got a lot of slack because I was trying to tell people, hey, great trip idea. You could save on gas. You don't have far to drive. Tickets are $10. You could stay at a cheap hotel there. Go to the Hall of Fame. You got your cake and eat it too. and you don't have to go that far or spend all that money. I ain't going to Canton, Ohio like that. I ain't doing that. I've been to the Hall of Fame. I think my kid's at Disney World. We'll go ahead and take them to Disney World. And then end up taking out loans and mortgaging your house. So you go ahead and do that. I'm not doing it.
I wouldn't do it either, Ralph.
And I tried to get great trip ideas. I said, look, it's a great, trip idea. You got, what else do you have? You have the Hall of Fame. You can see the Maulers play. $10 a ticket.
I know.
$10. Oh, I ain't driving 100 miles to see the Maulers. Nah. Oh, I'll support them if they're here. They're not here. Hey.
The quarterback was bad. Their quarterback was not good at all. Yes.
No, but the Maulers this past season and last year were decent. They went to the championship game. Yeah.
Their defense was very, very good.
Oh, yeah. Ray Horton had them playing really well. Former Steelers assistant, by the way. Ray Horton had that team going real good.
Well, that's the last Steeler coach, Pittsburgh Steeler coach to be in a championship probably in a long, long, long time.
Yeah, I know. I can't even. Other than the ones that carried over from Cowher to Tomlin, and maybe Todd Haley's the coach of Memphis. So I mean, other than that,
high-powered offense. Be a high-powered offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd Haley's a good coach. He's a little bit of a crybaby. You can't get along with him. But Ken Wisenhunt said this to Ben Roethlisberger when Wisenhunt had the 1 season or 2 seasons with him. He said, "I'm not your friend. I'm your coach." And and he came from the Joe Gibbs tree. So, I mean, Wisenhunt did. So, Wisenhunt coached under Joe Gibbs for a lot of years. He was his tight end coach, wide receiver coach, quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator at one point. And, so he said the same thing Gibbs said. I'm not your friend. I'm your coach.
That's the way it should be, too. That's the way it should be.
Ben didn't understand that. And then they brought Arians in because him and Arians were friends. They're still friends. I hear they still break bread. Right. So, I mean, and they didn't like that. So they brought in Todd Haley, and Todd Haley, his wife got in trouble over that whiskey. Or that whiskey.
Yep. Little craziness.
Yeah. After that, he went bye-byes. Yep. So, I mean, and
it happens.
Then Randy Boring Fichtner, his offense was
terrible. He was terrible.
Nothing but think and dink. Nothing. Yep. Just throw little little stupid.
Not very good. Not good at all.
Yeah,
Sissy McNevin, thanks for tuning in.
The only reason he was on the team to begin with is because him and Tomlin were best friends. Their kids play together. Fichtner lives about 2 blocks down from Tomlin's house in Squirrel Hill. So I mean, and he's still living in Pittsburgh. His kids play in at one of the high schools. I don't know which one. Fichtner's kids, and Fichtner's kids and Tomlin's kids went to same schools together, high schools together. So there you are.
Well, I got a trivia quiz question right now before we got off. See if you know it, Ralph. How many NFL championships have the Steelers won entering this 2024 season?
6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, you got it right. My stepdaughter gave me the Steelers stuff for trivia for my podcast.
You should have more than that. If Neil O'Donnell didn't throw that errant pass.
Yeah.
And then also too, the Green Bay one. We would have 8. We would have 8 Super Bowls.
And Chris Anderson says, I agree with you, Ralph. We need a whole new coaching staff. And Craig says, hey, Ralph, I just wanted to say hello to you. Happy New Year. And thank you for doing what you do. So,
I appreciate
Ralph,
that so much.
Thank you for coming on, everybody. This is Ralph Williams.
Everyone, too. Thank you so much. I really do. Happy New Year to you. I have people up in McGrath, Alaska, in the village up there, listening and watching my shows. So that's nice.
You're the mega mogul of Pittsburgh, brother. So
I am. I represent it well as much as I can.
You do. You got shows over shows.
I will talk to you on the side because sooner or later I may be one of the only live broadcasters in sports talk radio. But I'll tell you on the side. I have some information you're going to want to know.
Oh, there we go.
But I'm keeping it a secret. But I will tell you this much. If it happens like I think it's going to, in the next 6 months, I will be the only live sports broadcaster, other than Mark Madden, of course. We will be the only 2 because I'll tell you it off the air.
Okay? There you go. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hit like and subscribe.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Thank you, Ralph. And we are going to get out of here. Hit like and subscribe. Check out all Ralph Williams shows. Ralph, once again, thanks for coming on. So everybody, I will see everybody on the Triple B Experience Friday night at 9 o'clock. So everybody, go Steelers. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.